Hey everyone. So we're going to go over this topic that's come up again in my world. And then we're going to hold up a little mirror. Because a lot of ex-Jehovah's Witnesses have been accused of hatefulness and prejudice. And it couldn't be further from the truth. I'm going to use a very, very quick comparison because I know that the Jehovah's Witnesses, and anybody who's been in there any length of time knows this, used to dog the Catholic Church incessantly. They were their favorite target. And yet, if you were to meet, if a Jehovah's Witness, let's say you're a Jehovah's Witness, if you were to meet a Catholic, I know that the Jehovah's Witness faith makes you feel like they're complicit because of their support. But even at that, you don't hate them for being a member of the Catholic Church. You don't hate that individual. You have this thing in your mind that just nags that they're complicit. But overall, you're worried for them. You think these are good people. They don't need to be involved in this. This is a terrible thing for them to be involved in. Their children are not safe. Their salvation is not safe. This is where a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses are. Ex-Jehovah's Witnesses. We don't hate anybody. If anything, we've got a lot of good intentions. The biggest advocates in the ex-Jehovah's Witness community are working to try and make sure that the lives of children and the mental health and safety of children are protected. Now, as far as dogging on the doctrine goes, I mean, if y'all say, if you're not you, but if your leadership says something absolutely goofy, and we show you something from like 5 years ago, and your best defense is, oh, that's 5 years old. That's so old. It's got to be new light. But you can't find the new light. You kind of, defending that, you kind of brought that on yourselves. It's a little goofy. You can't really dog anybody for that. You did that. It's a thing. Just be willing to open your eyes and look. Be willing to look for that new light. Just we'll leave that there, okay? Okay. Next point. Why do we always go after the Jehovah's Witnesses? Why you gotta nag on them? Because they're not the only ones who do these abusive behaviors. Well, no, they're not. But we're not going to tell a Mormon or an ex-Mormon or an ex-Amish or, I don't know, an ex-Mooney that we aren't going to help them with their campaign to protect human rights or children or the right to hide laundered money or something. I don't know. Big things. We're not going to tell them no because you're not a Jehovah's Witness. Our goal is to try and end the child abuse, end the opportunity for the abuse to go on, end the scapegoating. And if we can't force them to end it, we want people to be aware of what they're getting into. And if making people aware of what they're getting into is bad, then maybe you need to ask questions of the people who are doing these bad things. Like the lack of affirmative action on child abuse. They're going to call the service department and see if they can, the service department is going to see if they have a loophole. Meanwhile, if somebody interrupts a meeting, they're going to call the police immediately. They don't have to call the service department. There's a little bit of a discrepancy there. I mean, what risk is there hearing somebody yelling what you feel is nonsense versus a child being molested? Let's weigh this out here. Call the service department, where we have many, even recent cases where they're not calling the police for child abuse. Or you're going to hear somebody spout off nonsense until they realize they're not getting anywhere and they leave. And you could tell your kid, that's nonsense. They're not hurt. They're not molested. They're not scarred for life. It's done. It's over. But you call the police immediately for this. Call the service department for this. Child has to go back home when they've said, I don't feel safe. I need help. And they're going to be faced with more. And potentially not get the help. Potentially open up a whole nother can of worms that is very dangerous. I don't think wanting to call attention to that and working to bring attention to, like, you've got to have real cases to prove to the government that they need to step up. And believe it or not, calling it out on anyone helps everyone. The Catholic Church, the Amish, the Mormons, like, they want us to go and help them with their worthiness interviews and making them illegal. Heck yes, I'm going to go help. That's abusive. That's traumatic. I will share my traumatic story. That's very similar. I don't have a problem with that. You want to go dog Russia for making the Jehovah's Witnesses illegal? You're going to talk to somebody who understands the Russian government if you want that changed. Those are going to be your go-to people. All the letter writing campaign, that was just to bog them down and put pressure on them. But if you want to make changes, now that everything is settled down, and it's all said and done, and it can't be easily reversed, you're going after Russian people, or people who understand the Russian government and how it works if you want to change it. Even the governing body is going to go talk to the Russian brothers or people familiar with it. It's just the way it is. And like I said, any other faith that needs our help to try and draw attention to, the dangerous ramifications of a religious practice, we're not going to tell them no. We're equal opportunity supporters. But we're working where we know what's going on. Anywho. But you want to talk about making awareness again. We're drawing awareness to the disfellowshipping practice. Guys, hello, Jehovah's Witnesses out there. You yourselves sit there and read magazines no less than 3 times a year about following the disfellowshipping rules, about staying away from apostates, because it's loving. It's a loving arrangement. There's wicked people, imposters. But apparently now we've been thrown in with the child molesters because you don't know what we got disfellowshipped for. I've seen people getting disfellowshipped for getting married because the elders didn't give them the go-ahead. Literally. Okay? They're thrown in with child molesters because there's no way that somebody's going to repent from getting married to somebody that they love. There's people getting disfellowshipped because they got drunk in public. And they're thrown in with the child molesters. So we've got people doing just human things thrown in with, some of the scum of the earth. We're mentally diseased. We're thrown into the hands of Satan's. We're wicked. We're unrepentant. We're bad. You have so much stuff thrown at you, and your belief system is so strong that I have literally had elders talk to me like I'm the scum on the bottom of their shoe. What have you been up to? Just working and living life. Not going to the meetings though, are you? Not if that's what you call love. Thank you very much. a sister and her daughter that I hadn't seen since the daughter was a baby saw me in the store one time, literally dropped her basket and ran away from me because she was terrified of me. And this is before I even started YouTube. Imagine what she'd do now. Probably throw rocks at me or something. Like, my own grandfather doesn't know what the conscientious reason is behind not wanting to come back. He doesn't know. He doesn't care. He doesn't want to know. He doesn't even want to look at his own magazine. I'm like, you've got a magazine right here I can show you. And it's not even old. Nope. What part of no don't you understand? Apostate and click. Like, tell me who's hating right here. Tell me who's hating when children are kicked out of their homes. I can't get a job because there's somebody that works there that's a witness and another witness knows it, that it happens to. Like, the discrimination, the hatefulness, the losing the family, seeing somebody in a really, really bad spot in life and refusing to help them. And you're professing that as love. If this was so loving, you'd want us telling people. You want us telling people how much you love us to do this to us. Or do you not? I mean, I'm kind of confused here. I'm getting worked up because this is a big deal to me. This is hurtful. Because children are also disfellowshipped. And they need their families and their community. And they have no one. And you're destroying lives. And calling it love. But you got to take it one way or another. Is it loving or is it not? You can't say it makes us look bad and then call it love. And read magazines 3 times a year about how loving it is. Pick one or the other. Pick a struggle. Pick a struggle. I'm telling you. We just want to be human. We want to be considered human. We want to have our families. And if we can't have that, we want people to know what the loving thing that you do is to people, to children, your real estate. If we can't have that, we want people to make sure they know what they're getting, period. We don't hate anybody. We want our families safe. We want children safe. We want our families' children safe. That's what we want. We don't hate you. We realize how scary it is to leave something that you believe. We've been through it. Trust me. It's hard. It's really, really hard. There's people out there that hate you. But you can't say the fact that we are an ex-Jehovah's Witness and that we talk about what we've been through is hate. Like I said, you're going to have to pick a struggle. And I got to get into work. Y'all have a good night.